You want, there's the answer. I was going to say you want to start recording. So welcome to the City of Boulder's October 7th Cannabis Licensing Advisory Board. And let's go ahead and start with the instructions for virtual meeting.
One moment, we do have another member coming in. Let me just get him in our room here. All right. Good afternoon. This is for public participation at the Cannabis Licensing and Advisory Board meeting. The city has engaged with community members to co-create a vision for productive, meaningful, and inclusive civic conversations. This vision supports physical and emotional safety for community members, staff, and board commission members, as well as democracy for people of all ages, identities, lived experiences, and political perspectives. More about this vision and the project's community engagement process can be found at the link on your screen. The following are examples of rules of decorum found in the Boulder Revised Code and other guidelines that support this vision. These will be upheld during this meeting. All remarks and testimony shall be limited to the matters related to city business. No participant shall make threats or use other forms of intimidation against any person. Obscenity, racial epithets, and other speech and behavior that disrupts or otherwise impedes the ability to conduct the meeting are prohibited. Participants are required to sign up to speak using the name they are commonly known by, and individuals must display their whole name before being allowed to speak online. We currently are using video testimony online, so you can disregard. And please keep in mind that the Q&A chat function is to be used for technical items only. It cannot be used to communicate any other purposes unless you're having technical difficulties.
Thank you. And you ready for member roll call?
I certainly am. Member Foster.
Present.
Member Green.
Present.
Vice Chair Keegan.
Present.
Member Kreezer.
Present.
Chair Kunzman.
Present.
Member Noble did email in her regrettable absence today. Ex officio member Thompson.
Present.
And ex officio member DiCarlo.
Present.
We do have a quorum.
Thank you. Let's take a quick look at the August 5th CLAB meeting minutes. Any comments or corrections? If none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I would move to approve the minutes. They looked correct to me.
And
Stacy, I'll second it.
Stacy seconds. Do you want to hand a roll call vote, or do you want to?
We do need to have an audio vote because those that might be visually impaired could not see people raising their hands.
All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Anyone?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining?
Your motion passes unanimously.
Okay, let's move on to general public comments for the board.
Yes, agenda item number 2, general public comments for the board. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. I will be displaying a timer on our screen when we get to that point. Is there anyone in the waiting room that wishes to provide public comment? If you're going to provide public comment, please use the raise your hand feature located on your screen. At this time, Chair, I'm not seeing anyone participating by phone. Do we have anyone who wishes to make public comment? Chair Kunzman, I am seeing none at this time.
Okay, let's officially close that public comment.
Great.
And do we have The cannabis enforcement officer is not present, is that?
Right. So agenda item number 3, matters from the Cannabis Enforcement Officer. I do not see Officer Gignac in the room at this time. And she did not provide a written summary for this meeting,
Okay. If
like she does quarterly. Mhm.
if she shows up later at a convenient time, we can take her testimony. All right, let's go ahead.
Excuse me, sorry,
sorry.
Kristen Changaris, licensing manager. I do see one person is logged in under COB. If that's Officer Gignac, could you please raise your hand?
Oh, yeah. Good eye, Kristen.
Yes, thank you.
If that's Officer Gignac, if you could please unmute or raise your hand. Thank you. Never mind.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go on to agenda item number 4. Public hearing and consideration of an application from Green Tree Boulder LLC.
Certainly. You do have your script
I
in
do.
your hearing packet?
I am perfectly ready.
Wonderful.
I hereby call a hearing to order as the review of licensing applications submitted by Green Tea Boulder LLC. DBA, what's that? Stands for business, whatever. DBA Green Tea Dispensary. Could the licensing clerk please read the matter into the record?
Certainly. This is a public hearing and consideration of an application filed on July 31st, 2024 from Green Tree Boulder LLC, doing business as Green Tree Dispensary, 3141 Walnut Street, Boulder, Colorado, 80302. Lori Schwartz and Allison Filer, owners, with a business mailing address of Post Office Box 19352, Boulder, Colorado, 80302, for a new marijuana medical wellness center. We do have the applicant in the room. And I will allow her to turn on her camera.
Don't see her yet.
There she is. I see her. Lori.
Oh, there. Okay. The licensing division and the applicant are hereby admitted as interested parties for this proceeding. Were there any other persons who filed a written entry of appearance?
No, Chair. Staff have not received any written entries.
Okay. This is a public hearing before the Cannabis Licensing and Advisory Board of the City of Boulder to determine whether or not the application of Green Tea Boulder LLC, doing business as Green Tea Dispensary, for a medical wellness center type marijuana license shall be, or to determine whether a medical wellness center type marijuana license shall be granted or denied. This hearing is conducted pursuant to the City of Boulder ordinances, laws of the state of Colorado, and the rules of the Cannabis Licensing Advisory Board of the City of Boulder. The purpose of this hearing is to take public comment and receive information, data, and testimony from interested parties in order to enable this board to make the findings and reach conclusions required to be made by law as to whether or not the license applied for shall issue. Interested parties are the applicant, acting through the owner and manager of the business, as well as the city, acting through its licensing division. A record is being made of these proceedings. Those who desire to be heard shall identify themselves by stating their name, spelling their first and last name, and stating their pertinent address. They shall also be sworn in by the licensing clerk. Before we begin, do any board members have or believe they have a conflict with respect to this application?
Chair, I wanted to disclose that I know Ms. Schwartz in the following context. About 10, 12 years ago, before I went in-house, when I was in private practice, I represented a party in a civil case who was adverse to Ms. Schwartz. that case was resolved on a full and final basis about 10 years ago. I've considered under the conflict rules whether I have a conflict of interest, and I do not believe that I do have a conflict. There's no financial gain or loss that I would suffer as a result of this decision. And I don't believe that there are any issues, good or bad, that would subjectively cause me to be biased against against Ms. Schwartz or the business. But I did want to disclose that I had knowledge of one of the applicants in that context.
Thank you, Adam. Anyone from the board have any concerns about what Adam just brought up? Okay, and since this is our first time, Kristen, do we ask Ms. Schwartz if she has any concerns, or I don't know? You tell me.
I will let Mr. Ramirez respond to that.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. The applicants can certainly put on the record anything that the applicant believes. However, ultimately, it is an issue for the board member. So if the applicant has any issues that she wishes to concern, now would be the time.
Shaking your head no suggests you have no concern about that, Ms. Schwartz?
No, I have no issue.
Okay, and once again, members of the board, either voting or non-voting members, any concerns? Okay, I'm seeing heads shaking no across my screen. Okay, and are there any attorneys who will represent the party?
Nope, I will be representing myself.
Okay. And this proceeding will have the following order. First, we will take public comment. Second, we will hear testimony from the city staff, then the applicant. Each presentation of testimony shall be limited to 10 minutes unless good cause is shown for additional time. After each interested party's testimony, the board and every other interested party will have the opportunity to ask questions of that party. Finally, each party will have the opportunity to rebut testimony. The board will have the opportunity to ask additional questions of each interested party following their rebuttal. Following hearing the evidence, testimony and presentation of evidence will close and the board will deliberate. Although deviating from this process is not anticipated, the board reserves the right to alter this process where doing so promotes the fact findings of the board or is in the interest of justice. That said, are there any objections to this order of procedure? Okay, is the applicant ready to proceed? And
I am, yes.
And is the city ready to proceed?
Yes, we are. All right,
Okay.
I will need to get you sworn in, Ms. Schwartz. If you'll please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Lori Schwartz,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that the information and evidence I present today
that the information and evidence I present today
to the Cannabis Licensing and Advisory Board
for the Cannabis Licensing and Advisory Board
is true and correct.
is true and correct.
Thank you.
Okay, we can see that there are no other apparent interested parties.
That's
that-
correct.
Okay, and so the board has the preliminary findings from city staff included in the materials. Are there any documents, reports, or other written materials any interested parties wish to have entered as evidence into the record, including members of the board? All right. We will begin by taking public comment. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker and is subject to the board's rules of procedure and decorum. For each commenter, the board will have the opportunity to ask questions. Are there, I don't see any, but are there any members of the general public who wish to provide public comment?
As noted previously, if you're here to make public comment for this application, you can use the raise hand feature on your screen. Is there anyone here that wishes to make comment as to this application type? Chair Kunzman, I'm seeing no hands raised at this time.
Okay. With no public comment, we will move on to presentation by the licensing division. The board has accepted the preliminary findings of the licensing staff into evidence. Do the licensing division or any other city staff wish to provide testimony, or do the preliminary findings represent the city's position?
Yes, Chair Kunzman, the application packet and preliminary findings are the city's submission.
Okay,
No,
thank you. Does the applicant wish to present testimony or present evidence?
point of order, Chair Kunzman. I'm sorry, Ms. Schwartz. There were a couple of questions.
Oh yeah, does the applicant have any questions for city staff? Excuse me.
No,
questions.
not at this time.
Okay. Does the board have any questions or comments for city staff? I'm seeing, oh, Kate.
I had a question about the address is the same address as the one that is previous or currently associated to the recreational dispensary license. Is that correct?
That is correct. It will
And
be
is-
encompassed at the same address.
Okay. And is it meant to be virtually or physically separated?
It is physically.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for city staff? Okay. Now, does the applicant wish to present testimony or present evidence?
I'm happy to take a moment and just introduce myself to all of you and tell you who we are. As you know, I'm Lori Schwartz. I am a retired judge from Florida. I'm a licensed attorney here in Colorado as well as Florida. My partner, Allison Filer, is my younger daughter. She's been my partner in this industry since 2009 when we first got involved. We were the owner of one of the very first actually one of the first stores in the city of Boulder back in the day called the Village Green Society. We then started some other stores called Nature's Medicine and then renamed and built a number of other stores, which have been known by Green Tree. We did previously own a dispensary, both medical and retail, a manufacturing facility and medical and retail cultivation in Boulder County, which was annexed into the city during the whole municipality for the utility back a few years back. We sold that business back in 2020. We are currently operating the business that the retail license at this current address. We are operating it. We've been approved for our change of ownership. We purchased that location / license from another individual. We built the store, and at the time that we built it to house both a separate medical and retail store. We currently own a number of other stores in the city of North Glen, town of Berthoud, Longmont. We operate a MIP in Boulder County. We have cultivations. And we've both been involved in this business in a very, very long time. Having a medical store is very important to both myself and my daughter because my daughter is a cancer survivor. Marijuana was very important to us when she went through her cancer treatments for a number of reasons. As many of you are aware what marijuana can do for you. I believe that we're very good operators. I think we're very conscientious. We have very loyal employees. We have employees working for us for 15 plus years, which is kind of unheard of in this industry, to have your average employee working for you 8 to 15 years. We run a very compliant business. We have a good model. The Med uses our facilities frequently for training. And I think we are good applicants for this business. And we'd like to have a medical store where we are currently operating a recreational store.
Thank you. Does the city have any questions for the applicant?
Not at this time, Chair Klinsman.
And are you speaking for all? I'm just checking.
I was the staff member that took and processed this application as well as their other applications. So not being directed any other way, I, yes, am
Okay.
acting as the city unless other individuals wish to also add as part of the city.
They can chirp in if they want to.
Yes, they can.
Does the board have questions for the applicant? Brian?
Well, thanks so much for your application and interest here. I would just like to note in your application here, you had disclosed that there had been one incident of, I'm just trying to pull up the right section here, under section 12, you'd received a notice for a new employee failing to check an ID. So I just wanted to check what best or standard operating procedures you have in light of this previous violation.
Well, all of our employees go through training. This was a very new employee who, it was a sort of an unusual situation, and she actually did the right things and went to the manager, who was, for whatever reason, in too much of a huff and had had some personal issue that day with her significant other, and just said, yeah, it looks fine, let them go. And that's basically what happened. Of course, they were both terminated immediately, but we've had probably 50 plus underage, what you call stings, as the Med does. I've gotten at least that many letters saying, you know, you've had this and everything was good, kind of thing. We've had additional training. We require everybody to take training. I constantly stop by the stores, review the standard operating procedures, make sure we have testing in place now. We don't let anybody who is new sit at the front desk and checking people in without having another employee there. All stores are required to have another person check at the door before they enter either the medical bud room or the retail bud room. So there's been a number of things put into place to just further check those things. We use black lights, we have ID scanners, you know, we've got the ID book, we've got everything you could think of there.
All right, that addresses my concerns. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So just for our edification, over what period of time were those 50-ish checks that you have become aware of?
Oh, every time the Med does one, we get a letter. So I've gotten some as recently as the last couple of months. It's a steady thing. The city of North Glen does these stings probably every couple of months, every 2-3 months, pretty often. Berthoud, because we're down there and we're a facility that has a cultivation and there's 2 stores in one big building. The Med tends to stop in there often. They all pass there to go to their office. So I probably get those every 6 months. It's pretty often.
And this was in July of 2021, right? That's what the,
Oh, okay, whatever the date that I put down, I don't recollect. It was a while ago.
okay.
And like I said, we've been operating marijuana stores since 2009.
Okay, other questions? Go ahead, Del.
Hi, I was just curious, do you make lab reports available to your customers?
We put all the required information and all the results on the labels that go to the patient and or customer. We just had the med into the Boulder store. And they reviewed all of the labeling and all the disclosures, and we were fully compliant.
Thank you.
Other questions? I was scrolling through to,
It looks like Dr. Green has her
Yeah,
hand up.
Member Green does.
go ahead, Stacy.
Someone asked this, I wanted to confirm, this is a different location than the current facility?
No, it's the
You
same,
have-
it's the same location. It has two separate stores.
Mhm.
It has a common waiting room with two
Uh-huh.
separate stores.
Okay, okay. All right. And so far, that's been a decent location for you guys. I'm just curious what's motivating the medical addition.
Because we feel very strongly about medical. Because of my daughter, to be honest with you. I feel more strongly about the medical than I do the retail. And so does she. But has that been a good location? No, it's extraordinarily slow still. I mean, we only started operating in, I want to say, was it late June, maybe, Kristen? I don't remember
July,
exactly,
yeah.
but July, yeah, right around then. We just opened. So it's slow, you know, it takes a while for Google to approve you and, you know, just deal with all of that stuff. And so our location wasn't up in Google. They kept shutting us down and, you know, you can't advertise and you can't do all those things. So it takes a minute. It's a lot of word of mouth and the couple of places that you can put your coupons or ads. It just takes time.
Yeah, and I'm curious as far as like adding this medical front to it, what kind of maybe additional services or that kind of thing do you foresee offering clients of the medical side of the shop?
Just counseling for the uses of the marijuana products. We're not doctors, so I don't believe that we should be providing medical advice and those kind of things. I think that it's extraordinarily important for me, who is not personally that knowledgeable about different marijuanas and different products. It's important for me that I have employees who are well versed on their products. So when we carry a product, we make sure a vendor goes through their proposed uses, dosages, and make sure that my employees really understand the product. If we don't understand the product, we shouldn't be selling it. I don't believe in just, oh, well, we don't have that, but this is the same thing. No, everything isn't the same. And there's a lot of that out there. I get calls from friends all the time saying, you know, I got this, my doctor recommended this, but this store gave me that. And I said, don't go near that. I mean, it's got a ton of THC, you're going to get high and you don't want that, you know? So I don't want my employees just selling stuff. I want them to really, truly understand the products. So every vendor sits down with my employees, goes through the products that we carry, and it helps them understand the uses. And a lot of them try a lot of the different products for different reasons. And I think that that's what's important for the guidance for our medical patients.
Thank you. Another follow-up question to somebody's question earlier, as far, I think Brian had asked about the license event or ID event. Was that at that current location?
No, that was in the town of Berthoud.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I'm just curious because as a longtime resident here, I didn't realize there was a dispensary in that mall. I haven't visited it recently, but I used to. And my recollection is it's like a lot of young people, families. There's like a children's store, restaurant right there that I remember taking my kids when they were little. So I'm just, and then I know the kids climbing gyms nearby. So I'm just curious if you've been interfacing more with that age group in the community and felt like you've had to kind of had your guard up a little extra, or if it hasn't been an issue at all.
No, I don't, we rarely ever see any young children there, where it's the shopping center where Walnut Cafe is.
Yeah,
So,
like by the piano.
there's a tattoo shop in there, and we're right next to that Condition with the K, I think it's called, that gym. So we're kind of in a corner. Sometimes we're noticed, sometimes we're not, to be honest with you. We just got signage up, so I haven't seen kids. And what's interesting is when I'm in the store, I don't see many young people, like college age group. It's older and a lot of women. And I think that my daughter and I, and in the past, when we had a store in the city of Boulder, we attracted a lot of women because we were women owned. And we have a lot of women that work for us. So I think that our customers from before are starting to find us again. That's what I'm seeing. I don't see anything. I haven't seen kids.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you answering all those questions.
Other questions from the board? So, Ms. Schwartz, you don't have, I assume you don't have the same page numbers as our packet, but on page 47, that includes your application. I think it was here. It said something about C diagram, and my Wi-Fi seems to be particularly slow today, but I can't see a diagram. Can you describe? No, Kate, you're saying no also. Was there? So go ahead, Kristen.
So I can let you know that is for the city application. Those documents are provided to you as part of the application packet. We, as staff, do not provide diagrams as part of a public packet due to security reasons.
Okay, well, I was just going to ask her to just simply describe, like, is a space that's going to be used by the marijuana or the medical currently occupied, or that's a
no, when you walk in, I'm not sure which diagram you look at, but when you walk in the main entrance, straight ahead will be where the reception desk is. Immediately on the left, you'll see there are two doors. The very first door opens to a room, which will be the medical bud room. The next door leads to a big hallway, and you literally go up steps, and then you go into a different door, which takes you into the bud room for retail. So they're two set. What we did was took over two stores. One was a bridal shop, and the other was a former, I think it was like a gym. And we took the two stores, combined it into one big store, but they're two separate rooms. They're not even actually on the same level. We had to put in a lift because you don't realize it when you're walking outside, but it goes up at an angle. So it's actually two separate areas. They're not even next to each other.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, Tom, I just had just a follow up here. Yeah, I just wanted most of the questions that I was going to ask have already been asked by the team. And so I think from my perspective, just because of something that we typically talk about here is just understanding like you talk a lot in your application about educational materials. You've talked already a little bit about training. Can you just kind of walk through a little bit of like what your onboarding is and what the importance of educational materials are for you and your business?
Oh, you're mute, Ms. Schwartz.
Sorry, onboarding for our employees, is that what you're asking about?
Yeah, onboarding for employees. Yep. And then your educational materials and how that helps you or how you utilize those.
Okay, so in our waiting room, we have several educational packets that we have out from different vendors. Different community things are out there for the taking if you're in the waiting room, and in the bud rooms as well. When we take on a new employee, they don't get to just like work right away. They are, I have instructional sheets where they go through all of the rules. I don't think so many of these people realize when they get a badge that, what the rules really are. They get a badge and they think they're going to go work and sell weed and woohoo. It doesn't work like that. We actually have standard operating procedures. We make them sit down and review our entire handbook, which sets forth all of our requirements and things. We have pages that they have to sign after they read through all of the rules that we've reiterated from the med rules. Everything from ID checks, consumption on site, et cetera, all of that. And then we have, depending upon what they're being hired for, different tests that we have developed and require them to do. They work with another employee, typically a manager or somebody who specializes in whatever they're doing, whether it's reception or sales or inventory. And they work with that person for, depending on their level of experience, it could be weeks, it could be a month, and they're shadowed and gradually given the ability to do it on their own, but being watched kind of thing. If there's any issues, they're brought to our attention by our managers, and we decide how to address them. We work with correction first, and then there's write-ups, and then it gets to a point where maybe they're terminated. Most likely, if it's gotten to the point of a couple of write-ups for the same kind of things. It's just, compliance is a big deal for me. And, I have a lot at stake. I have a financial interest. I have, law licenses. I have my badge. I have a business and I have employees that I have to support with a paycheck, that if another employee does something wrong, that's just not okay. It affects the entire business. And so training is a big deal for us. It's extensive. And but I think it's good because I think that it empowers an employee to be a better employee. It also, enables them to learn about things and products that they didn't know about, and broadens their horizons as well.
Yeah, thank you. I did want to ask you, I mean, I know that you have other licenses around the state as well, but in terms of like the responsible vendor program that the state offers, do you do that? Do you have certain employees complete that? Is that something that you have? Yeah. Okay.
All,
Oh,
yes.
awesome. All right. Thank you. Those are my questions. Hey, Tom, if you're
Tom,
talking, I
you're
think you're
muted.
muted.
Getting there, sorry. Does the city wish to present any rebuttal evidence or testimony?
I currently do not have any. I'll look to my other city partners.
No, thank you.
Okay.
There is none. Thank you.
Okay. Does the applicant wish to present any rebuttal evidence or testimony? Would that be unusual, but yes. Okay. And any final questions? Well, let me go back. Any final questions from the board for the applicant? I think we already covered all that. Any final questions? No, there's a duplication of questions there. Any final questions? Okay, with no further rebuttal, the testimony and evidentiary portion of this hearing is hereby closed. The board will now move into deliberation. Does any board member wish to kick off the deliberation? Adam?
They're selling retail already, it sounds like, in very close to the same location. If they want to expand and add medical sales, based on the testimony, based on my review of the application, I don't see any problem with that. I would be inclined to approve that application.
Brian?
Yeah, I'm also reassured that these are extremely professional applicants. They've got a track record and history here that goes back for a number of years. They were forthcoming with a very minor violation in the past. I think they have a really comprehensive application details, and I am relieved that we, in my view, have a very easy first applicant out the gate for our new process.
Other board members? Give everybody a chance to say something in case you want to.
I would just add, obviously, an underage sale is a big deal, but you're looking at over 3 years ago, and it sounds like the applicant took it very seriously. I don't think there's any reason to believe that would happen again. So I thought the applicant's testimony, even though it's a serious violation, given the passage of time, the applicant's testimony, I don't think it's going to happen again.
And I guess I would add to that the actions taken. And not that it matters that much, but it wasn't this facility.
Yeah, I'd agree with all those points, Chair. That's all relevant.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me wonder what if there were, let's just say 50-ish checks and they failed once. I'm wondering what the other businesses would have in terms of their odds, but that's probably not known to anyone, I'm guessing. All right. If there's no other deliberation, can I get a motion to close the deliberation? I want to make sure everybody feels like they got their word in though.
Brian motions to close deliberations.
Foster, second.
Okay. Anyone opposed or abstaining to close the deliberation? And just to make it obvious, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Can we get a motion to approve or deny the application?
I would move to approve. Foster.
Keegan seconds.
Okay. Any discussion at that point? All right, can we have a roll call vote?
One moment. Member Foster,
Aye.
Member Keegan,
Aye.
Member Krieser,
Aye.
Member Kunzman,
Aye.
and Member Green.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, with that vote, this ends the hearing. Pursuant to board procedure, the board will work with the city attorney's office to prepare a final written decision reflecting the decision and rationale. And thank you for everyone's participation, including you, Ms. Schwartz. You're mute, but that's okay. I could read your lips.
Thank you, all of you. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you for being our first applicant that we're testing out this process for us. We're not testing, we're doing the process now. So,
Well, I think it's very nice and it's very professional, and I appreciate that.
thank you. Okay, and so now we're ready to move on. I guess I have a question real quickly. Oh, Kristen, go ahead.
No, go ahead with your question first, Chair.
Oh, Dell, how do you say your last name?
It's pronounced Kreiser.
That's what
I
thought.
apologize.
It's
Yes,
okay.
please correct me in the future. It's Kreiser, and I do apologize, Member Kreiser. Thank you, Chair Kunzman.
Okay, thank you.
All
Okay.
right, I do have an item for you, if that would work for you, Chair Kunzman.
Yeah, and should we move Ms. Schwartz off of?
Yeah, she's welcome to we can
Yeah.
put her back in the waiting room if you would like to listen to the rest of the CLAB meeting, Ms. Schwartz. Okay.
Thank you.
I will work on getting that over. But while the computer system is doing that, I do have a message for from Cannabis Enforcement Officer Gignac. She could not get her mic to work. However, she wanted to inform the board that there were 2 underage compliance checks conducted by the city and all passed. And the marijuana enforcement division, I'm sorry, I apologize. The department had 2 DUID marijuana arrests in previous month. But unfortunately, she is unable to get her her microphone to work. And unfortunately, I cannot remove Ms. Schwartz directly because that will kick her out of the meeting at this point. So I don't want to do that.
No, thank you.
All right.
So just to clarify, those are 2 that offered Officer Gignac. I always butcher her last name, sorry. 2 checks that she's aware of, and then also 2 from MED.
So I apologize. I kind of misspoke and then restarted myself. So the city of Boulder, there were 2 compliance checks and both of them passed. And then there were 2 arrests from the Boulder Police Department in the last month for driving under the influence of drugs, marijuana.
Right. It's always good to check acronyms.
I apologize.
Make
I'm working off of 3 screens and 5 different tabs open at the same time. So sometimes my eyes are going a little cross-eyed. I do apologize for that.
Well, as I've said before, I wish I had 3 screens, but then again, maybe I don't wish that. Okay, I think we're ready to move on to policy suggestion forms.
Perfect. Agenda item number 5, policy suggestion forms received. In your packet, you will see a CLAB policy suggestion form from iComply submitted on September 11th, 2024. We do have an individual from iComply in the waiting room for when we open this up to public comment. And as a reminder, the chat is to be used for technical assistance only. We will not respond to correspondence.
And my Wi-Fi is being really slow, and I know it's down here, but it's just like molasses. Can you it's a 1-pager, right?
So the policy suggestion form is actually more than that. It's a second page. We have it on page 72 of your application or of your meeting packet, and it is a 1-page. Yes.
Okay. Just scrolling down, but I wonder if you could share screen and just show it.
I can. I'll have to scroll through it because my screen shows it larger. I can try and shrink it down, but I'm not sure how well that would work, seeing as how this is a publicly available meeting recorded.
No, I finally got down to it. Does everybody else have it?
But I'm happy to.
Reviewed it? Okay. All right. Let me go back to. Does anybody want to? Go ahead.
One moment. There is a public comment for this section, I believe.
Okay.
I'm getting him in. Good afternoon, Mark. Can you hear us?
I can.
All right. And I will be putting up the 3-minute timer, and I will let you know when your time starts, okay?
Sounds good.
One moment. Okay. Apologies here. I'm having some difficulty with my screen sharing. All right. Mark, your time begins now.
Thank you. And thank you, board, for taking the time to review this policy suggestion. My name is Mark Slaw. I'm the CEO and founder of iComply. We are the oldest cannabis compliance company in the industry, having founded the company back in 2011 after seeing sort of the initial set of regulations, which Colorado has pioneered since. Since then, I've been a government consultant for Puerto Rico. I've sat on dozens of rulemaking groups with the Marijuana Enforcement Division and really helped craft legislation around the cannabis industry and what it looks like today, over 5 years serving as the head of industry associations as well. And so for me, it's pretty obvious when I take a look at some of the bolder regulations that some of these are a little bit out of date. It seems like the last time we've really updated the bolder rules and regulations to the state level of compliance was sort of back in 2016. And looking through your agenda notes, one of the issues that's never come up is the ability for cultivations to produce pre-rolls. You have some strange interpretations going on really at the city attorney and enforcement levels around pre-rolls. And in fact, in the Boulder Marijuana Code, not once is the word pre-roll ever mentioned. I've sent a letter to you really regarding this oversight and perhaps incorrect interpretation, which is really putting a lot of the Boulder cultivators at a competitive disadvantage across the state compared to other local municipalities, which are allowing pre-roll production. And as pre-roll production becomes a more and more popular product that consumers are demanding for the convenience, the simplicity, and of course, as a way to process byproduct in a market that's pretty depressed, you're really letting your cultivators in Boulder not be able to compete in a fair environment. This is a set of sort of production, if you want to call it that, even though that's sort of the interpretation at issue here. So we don't feel that it's actually a production of anything new, but flower trim that's really rolled up and compressed. There's no heat. There's no explosive solvents. Nothing really involved that would create a danger to your businesses or the neighborhood. And really looking just for equity around the businesses in Boulder to be able to roll up pre-rolls into a piece of paper as the rest of the state is allowed to do. So I really think that this speaks maybe to a broader mission that the board could take on, which is really to look at those rules and regulations. We just finished up another rulemaking at the state level, and a lot of new red lines are coming down the pipe. And perhaps as we do with our training programs, including responsible vendor, you guys mentioned earlier, we have to update those rules and regulations every single year for our private practice and for our clients. And I suggest that just like we're seeing with this oversight, there could be some incongruency as you're going on almost 10 years without updating those rules to really match what has happened at the state level. We have scientific policy advisory boards. We have a lot of experts at the state level, both in the legislative process and the rulemaking process, which have put out a lot more up-to-date and current rules, definitions, and other pieces of regulation, which I think the Boulder Code is in dire need of.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to speak on this.
All right. Questions for Mr. Slot? Go ahead, Adam.
Thank you. I wanted to clarify the suggestion, and I guess I'm wondering if it's a one-part suggestion or a two-part suggestion. It sounds like one part of it is to allow the cultivation facilities to make infused pre-rolls with the same types of extracts that they're allowed to extract at the facility. Is there also a second part to allow any other types of physical separation extraction beyond cold water extraction? My recollection is that the state code talks about a physical based process, and it sounds like the Boulder Code may be focusing only on water-based extraction, but I just wanted to clarify if that's part of the suggestion, or just to make sure I'm understanding the suggestion, I guess.
Yeah,
Mark,
absolutely.
So hang on, sir.
Yeah, Mark, before you answer, I'm going to take prerogative and let Roberto go next.
Hi, everyone. Just so that we're clear, and licensing can correct me, but this is the first time that the suggestion is before you. So at this point, it's up to you to discuss it and whether or not to go even further with this, to put it on the agenda so that members of the public can be put on notice, and we can take comment. And then that's when the question and answer period would be. But at this point, it's simply on you to allow you to go through it, discuss it amongst yourselves,
Okay.
and decide whether or not you want this to go forward as an issue for consideration.
And I do apologize to the board and to the city. I did jump the gun as to our old process and was not following the new procedure. So I do sincerely apologize. And as a reminder to the audience, yet again, the Q&A is not to be used for comment. It is to be used for technical questions only if you are having problems with the meeting itself, accessing or hearing. Thank you.
Mark, apologies that, this discussion might be misplaced and premature, but let me look to Kate here and see what Kate wanted to add to.
I was going to do an internal discussion. Is that still where we're at about the suggestion form? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah. So I was just going to say, the cold water extraction part of this, like my understanding is this was obviously water-based, right? The regs in Boulder or in Colorado have changed over the years, and this is obviously an old term. So I think that's one thing. So I think there is validity in looking at this further from the boards and the city side. I did have a question. I do think that there is obviously a difference between pre-roll production, infused pre-rolls, and extraction, right? So making sure that we're differentiating between all of the components. I did want to ask, is it the interpretation of the city, and maybe we don't know this yet, maybe this is why the city has to kind of, we have to ask them to take it up and look into it more, and maybe that's where we're at, but is it yeah, actually, that's probably the case. But I was going to ask, is it the interpretation of the city that pre-rolls are not currently allowed with just flower?
Is there someone from the city that can answer that?
And if not, obviously they can do the research and come back to us. My assumption or my interpretation in the past is that pre-rolls of flower, of one strain flower, was permitted in the city of Boulder. And that the infused pre-rolls would not, because the extraction piece of it wasn't allowed unless it was cold water, ice, ice or water or dry ice. And anyway, so I'm just saying that I was under the interpretation that regular pre-rolls of just flower were okay, but you couldn't mix two different strains together. And so some of that has evolved over time. So I think all in all, I think it's worth the city taking a look at it to ensure that we're not, I mean, allowing pre-rolls is obviously something that I think we all would agree, if flour is allowed, to grind it up and to put it into something could also be allowed. Whether or not infused pre-rolls is something, obviously a concentrate involved. So that's a potentially a Boulder specific question to be asked about whether cultivators can do that or not. Physical stuff separation is basically grinding and sifting, right? It's not anything more than that. It's not solvent based, it's not heat based. So only cultivators at the state level can do this grinding, this sifting, and that kind of thing. So I'm wondering if the definition, because it didn't exist back then when this was written, if pre-rolls were allowed and are allowed, and then that definition has now confused things a little bit because of that. So my point being, I guess, in all of this is it would be great to kind of move it forward to understand what is allowed and what isn't, and then maybe what the intent was and whether or not we should have something changed.
Right.
Yeah, I appreciate this public comment and Mr. Slyle's recommendations that, like, if there has been a gap, a span of time where our city rules have become out of sync with state rules, it's like worth revisiting that. I'm open to other board members' feedback and ideas about how best to approach this. I guess I call it like an audit to ensure that consistency. Again, this seems like it could be a significant lift. I would want to make sure that it would be done in a systematic way so that we could sort of process and batch these all together and then hand those over to council to act or not act at their discretion. But rather than trying to take this off one at a time. But I would look to other board members about like the best process for trying to do this kind of audit for consistency between state and city law rules.
Adam?
Thank you. So I would note that in the Boulder Code, the CLAB is kind of directed to look at three main issues. One being consistency with state law, one being promoting economic activity and economic development, the third being protecting public health and safety. And so kind of echoing Kate, I would be inclined to move, I guess what I would call the narrow part of the suggestion forward. And basically that would be to look at the privileges that cultivation facilities have in Boulder, specifically with regard to A, making pre-rolls, B, any type of physical separation, extraction, and C, making infused pre-rolls, to look at whether there's any differences between the state rules at this point and the local rules or interpretation of the local rules with regard to those three activities. If there is a divergence, to then look at and take public comment on whether the local code should be harmonized with the state code in light of those factors. So that's what I would call kind of the narrow part of the suggestion. I'm definitely all for moving that forward. The broader part of the suggestion, as I'm reading it, is to do some type of a more comprehensive review of the Boulder Code versus the state rules. And I'm a little more on the fence on that, whether that's something that this board should be doing, or whether we should be looking at specific suggestions for revisions and kind of acting on those as licensees or other members of the public make them. So on that broad part, I'm maybe a little more on the fence, but on what I'd call the narrow part, just as far as those privileges of cultivation facilities with regard to physical separation, extracts, and pre-rolls, I would definitely be all for moving that forward and exploring those issues and taking public comment on them. Thank you.
Kate, you had your hand up.
I was going to let somebody else go. I can follow up in a minute.
Right now, nobody else's hand is up, but
I was just going to echo what member Adam Foster has said. I mean, I think that's the right, or not that's the way that I would approach it as well. Just this idea of like this narrow scope about pre-rolls. It would be good to know whether or not they are or they aren't allowed currently, because I think there are places that sell pre-rolls in Boulder. So understanding the flower piece of it, understanding the infused part of it, and then just looking through whether or not it is aligned with the new terms that have been added in that case. So the privileges of the cultivator and the types of methods or products that they can offer. The other thing I was going to say is, I was going to ask the city attorney's office. I don't remember exactly. I know that we can say we'd like to move this suggestion form forward to the next phase, but I don't remember exactly what that process is. So what is the next step is, yes, look into this more. Is that kind of the next step?
So
Yeah.
I've got,
Oh, yeah, please go ahead.
oh
If you
no,
have
I
it in
was,
front of you, Kristen.
no, you go right ahead because I did have it up here. So 1 second. So on our CLAB suggestion form processes, the next step is that, so we've had our first CLAB meeting here. The policy suggestion form is presented. And if CLAB wants to consider the changes further, the CLAB asks licensing to include the topic for a public hearing at the next regularly scheduled CLAB meeting.
And at that point, there's no, city staff hasn't done any other research or anything like that.
So there is an analysis piece there.
That's later.
CLAB can prepare a written summary by a committee of 2 members, which includes A, operational impact of the proposed change, B, history of the provision to the extent known, and C, permissibility of the proposed change. A brief analysis is included in the agenda packet for the next meeting, and licensing includes the notice and public comment of the policy suggestion form in the agenda for the next meeting, which would be considered the second meeting.
Roberto, did you want to add any more?
Nope. She said that a lot better than I was going to say it.
No,
Yeah.
probably
So
not.
at this point, you guys just decide, hey, is this something that we want to look further into? If the answer is yes, then you put everybody on notice, and then the community can weigh in as you decide whether or not to go forward. 2 of you can get together and look into the issue. Look into whether there are other municipalities doing this. You can look into what the state is currently doing, and then you can come back to the board. And then after this public hearing process, once the community has had a chance to weigh in on the subject, then you can start drafting what's called the IP memo, which would go to city council. And this is where you would be making that suggestion to change that portion of the ordinance, that specific portion, to allow what is being suggested. See how that took me a lot more time than Kristen's succinct process.
No, all good. I was going to ask, is there a way that we can add that process to the section of the packet, like at the suggestion form packet, like that section of the packet, to have that process be like a part of that, so that we can see it each time that a suggestion form is up and like what stage it's at? Just because I think it is, we don't do it very often. Obviously, we don't know how long we'll be doing it after this, but just curious, because I think it would be helpful to be able to see it. But I do have just an initial question of pre-rolls are allowed in Boulder, correct? And that's kind of just, I feel like that is like a question that I just want to address right now for the audience and for everyone, that like just plain flower pre-rolls are currently being sold and permitted in the city of Boulder. Correct? Question mark.
Who's the best?
Hi, Kristen Changaris,
Yes.
licensing manager. I'm happy to answer that question. So no, they are not currently allowed, and that is because of our definitions. If you look at that definition, not only a cultivation facility, which was called out in the policy suggestion form, but also the definition of production. Producer production means, let's see, preparing, compounding, processing, encapsulating, packaging, or repackaging, labeling or relabeling of marijuana or its derivatives, whether alone or mixed with any other substance. So even if it's just plain flour, we do consider that to fall under production, and the only production that can occur at a cultivation facility is cold water extraction.
Got it. Thank you very much for that. Then, yeah, I definitely think that moving this forward is a necessary thing to do.
Okay, Adam?
Hey, thank you. And I think Kristen just answered this question, just so I'm understanding what's permitted right now. So there would be pre-rolls that are only made with flour. And then the second category, and we're talking about cultivation facilities. So one category would just be, can you take the flour that was grown at the cultivation facility, roll it up into a joint? The second question would be whether you can make that infused pre-roll using extracts or concentrates that the cultivation facility is allowed to make. And then the third part would just be, and I believe that Kristen just said this is the case, but is that limited only to cold water extraction at a cultivation facility, or is there any other type of physical separation based extraction that would be allowed? And I can repeat that again if I got too confusing on those three questions. But I think just understanding the landscape of what's currently allowed would be really helpful before we form a committee and do a lot of work on recommendations, because what's the point in recommending something that's already allowed?
Fritz and C, do you want?
Yeah, and the three questions again would just be, can a cultivation facility make a pre-roll only with flour? The second one being, can a cultivation facility make a pre-roll with the types of concentrates that the cultivation facility is allowed to make? The third question being, would those concentrates currently only be limited to a cold water extraction, or would there be any other type of physical separation based extract that would currently be allowed, extraction that would be allowed?
So Adam, if I'm understanding your questions correctly, the answer would be no to question 1 or 2 regarding pre-rolls, because pre-rolls are considered production under our definitions and are not allowed for cultivation facilities. And then the third question, the only production that's allowed for a cultivation facility is cold water extraction. Does that answer your questions?
That does. Thank you for clarifying that. That's really helpful.
You're welcome.
Go ahead, Brian.
The cold water extraction just has me kind of scratching my head, and I agree of wanting to move this forward, and I would motion for that or second it if that appeared. But I just wanted to understand more about the legislative or regulatory intent behind allowing production facilities to do cold water but not to do flour. Was this just we didn't cross all our I's or T's, or is there a substantive legislative or regulatory intent here for this distinction?
And Kate, before you maybe try to answer those questions or address that, can we, I might be the only person in the room that is guessing at what the terminology means. Can we do like a 5th grade version of what we're talking about? Kate, do you want to try that?
5th grade version, probably not. But
Okay.
I mean, in terms of
how about 8th grade?
Different kind of hash, right? Like you can agitate it and it can get the hash, like the oils off of the plant, right? So that's the most basic way to say that. The reason, and to talk about Brian's question, and obviously the city staff could answer this as well, but what I was just going to say is this was at the marijuana advisory panel back in like 2017. The state didn't differentiate things in the same way as they do now. Physical based, heat based, solvent based wasn't the way that they did it. it was water-based versus, you know, I can't remember the other one at the time. But the water-based was kind of, and that was what we said, is that, listen, there's no other extraction material needed. You can have ice, you can have water, you already have it at the cultivation. So there was a conversation about whether or not that would be an acceptable form, no solvents involved. And so as long as there was a separate space for it, that was, you know, something that was permitted. And so at the time it made sense. There was a reason for it. There was a reason for the distinction. And in my recollection too, I mean, basically that means that pre-rolls are being produced in Boulder. They're just, the flower is being sent to a MIP, and that MIP is then creating those pre-rolls and then sending them out to the stores. So.
Yeah, I think that was a real good explanation. I would just add that, you know, if you back way up, so on the cannabis plant, there are trichomes. They're the little crystals, right, that you'll see on the bud, or that are growing on the bud part of the plant, and they're the highest THC portion of the plant. So if you want to make a concentrate, right, a product that's different from flower, you can on the one hand, and this is not what we're talking about because only the manufacturing infused products facilities are able to do it, have a solvent-based extract, right? So that could be butane, it could be liquid CO2. There's other types of solvents. Usually that's going to involve high pressure. It might involve volatile chemicals like butane. Only the MIPS can do that. The cultivation facilities cannot. And it's because you're you know, getting into like fire code issues, building code issues, safety issues with using those solvents. Then there are other types of solvent-less extracts, and that's this idea of physical separation. That could either be just taking like a screen and just shaking the dry buds so that you get more concentrated, you know, a more concentrated product called keef. You can press that down into a hash, which is the traditional way of making hash, or one of them. Or you can use what they sometimes call, you can make a product that's sometimes called like bubble hash, water hash, ice hash, that you're basically putting the plant material in cold water, and you're using physical agitation, almost like in a washing machine, to pull out those little trichomes and make a physical separation based extract that way. And then there may be other ways to do it too, but you know, those are a couple of the basic ones. And my understanding is under state law, the cultivation facilities typically are able to make those physical extraction type products at a cultivation facility. You don't have to have the MIP license. So, you know, to me, it would be worth exploring, I guess, under state law, you know, just clarifying what's permitted, get a good handle on that, look at where the local law is different. And I think that, you know, Kristen Shangura said, articulated that really well. So that was edifying for me. And then having a public discussion with comment on, you know, whether the Boulder law should be changed to permit, you know, all the activities that are permitted under the state law. So thanks, but hopefully that was helpful as far as these different processes and the products that we're talking about.
Right.
If there's no other discussion, then I'd be willing to make a motion to move this along, but I would look to staff for guidance about how to make the right motion to ensure that we can follow the right process to escalate, engage this policy suggestion.
Is there someone from the city that wants to? Roberto?
Sure, thanks. It's just as simple as making a motion to move the suggestion form to the next step, and then wait for a second, vote on it. And if that's the case, Kristen Teague will make sure that it gets put on the agenda and that there is notice for the public to be heard.
I guess to add to Brian's question, there's the narrow issue and the broader issue. The narrow issue is probably easier to
Right now, it's simply what is on the suggestion form.
Okay.
All right, then I would move to allow us to have a public comment and escalate this to the next stage.
Is that enough definition, Roberto? Okay. Any seconds on that?
I would second that. I guess I'd like to maybe
Make a friendly
make
amendment.
what I'd call a friendly amendment if possible, which would just be to look, at what's on the suggestion form, and I think this is implicit within the suggestion form, but with regard to the privileges of cultivation facilities in Boulder, for the examination to be whether the facilities in Boulder, cultivation facilities in Boulder, should be permitted to engage in all activities that cultivation facilities are permitted to engage in under MED rules. So if permitted, I'd like to have that as either a clarifying amendment or a friendly amendment.
I guess like update my motion that I would like to move the policy suggestion form to the second step of our process, and also include a discussion of aligning cultivation permissions with state policy. That capture your intent, Adam?
Thank you, and I would second that motion.
Roberto or other city staff, how do you feel about that intention?
Yeah, so this is one of the unique attributes of your board, in that you are one of the only boards in the entire city that has that authority to, on your own, expand the issues. So you can do it in 2 votes if you think that that's going to be an issue, but you certainly do need to at least vote on the narrow issue. And you can absolutely consider that more the broader issue as well. So whether you want to do that together or you want to do that separately, totally up to you. But the one that is required is the narrow one.
And Brian, if I understood the motion correctly, I guess I think it would encompass both the what we've been referring to as the narrower suggestion, and the broader suggestion to look at harmony with state privileges for cultivation facilities in general. So if that's, I guess the question would be if that's capturing the intent of the motion.
Yes, my intent with the motion is to capture both the narrow and the broader claims we've been discussing. My suggestion to Chair Koonsman would be, if there's no objection to separating them, like let's consider them together to keep things moving. But if there is an objection, then we can separate them out.
And I would second I'd renew my second of that motion. And I agree with what Brian just articulated.
Stacy and Dell, you're the other voting members. What are you thinking? Or non-voting members? Your 2 cents also.
Just to summarize again, like, would object to us considering both the narrow issue of the specific policy suggestion form moving forward and the broader issue of us aligning production policy with state policy, the city level?
Go ahead, Dell.
I would just say I'm in agreement with everyone on that. That makes sense.
Combine it into 2, combine it into 1 motion, or regard them as 2 separate motions? Jacques, I saw your hand.
Yeah, I apologize about my camera not working, having some internet issues, but I think combining them into 1 motion is fine. I support that. Just my 2 cents.
Kate?
And just to clarify, you're talking about the definition of production and the definition of it. Are you talking about going over the whole code and see the differences between like the state?
No,
Like
it
the
was
state
only,
differences?
my intent's
Just,
only the production
yeah. Okay.
facilities, yeah, not the whole lot.
Just wanted to make sure because I know that there's a little broader, like as soon as we start talking about like the state, part of it. So just want to make sure.
Okay. Stacy, any thoughts?
I'm fine with combining it. I feel like we just need more information, and I guess that's kind of a next step thing, and I'd be open to hearing a lot more about it, but for now, I'm fine with that.
Okay, any city staff have any concerns? Okay, so Brian, you want to restate your motion so Kristen, one of the Kristens can write that down?
I move that the policy suggestion form from the October 7 meeting be moved to the second phase of the process. And in conjunction with that the board also consider aligning city production policy with state production policy.
Second.
That work, Roberto? Okay, any further discussion? Okay. Then I think we're ready for a roll call vote.
All right. One moment. Flipping screens again. So we will go Member Kreiser. I'm sorry, I can't hear you, sir.
Oh yeah, you're mute for some reason, Del.
Sorry. I approve.
Member Green.
I agree or approve.
Member Kunzman.
I approve.
Member Keegan.
Aye.
And Member Foster.
Aye.
Okay,
Your motion passes.
Roberto?
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so this is the part, now that you have all agreed to move forward on it, this is the part where two of you should, if you want, raise your hands to form a committee that's going to look into it. And Kristen Teague, if you want to either put on the screen or maybe send an email to whoever volunteers as to the issues that you're going to be looking into to address that, so that when the next public hearing occurs, you can educate the rest of the board as to what you found. And this is in relation to what other cities are doing, what the state is doing. All that information you're going to bring and discuss at the time when members of the public will also have an opportunity to address it.
I am happy to
So-
share that document with that Section 3 analysis on screen if the club would so desire.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if there are two volunteers, now would be the time.
Adam is raising his hand either to talk or he's a volunteer.
No, I would volunteer to be on that committee. Thank you.
Okay. I can't see hands raised if I'm sharing my screen very well, so that's why I'm waiting. Do we want to see the analysis part first?
Let's get the second person. Okay.
Brian will be the
And we
second.
have our second.
All right. Let me get that prepared and up for you. All right, here we go.
And if it's helpful, Kristen can also send it to you as an email, but there's the analysis.
Okay. Everybody got that?
And then just a point of clarification that the scheduling for the second collab meeting would be, I guess, we would discuss this by the end of the meeting, but tentatively this would be in December, or does it have to be immediate?
So it
We
would,
put it to, go ahead.
so we don't have anything scheduled right at the moment because of your option, your choice to move to quarterly. So the next regularly scheduled meeting would not be until January unless CLAB decides to do something different towards the end of this meeting.
All right, yeah, you've got better math than I do here. So yeah, January. And I guess Adam and I have our homework cut out for our January meeting at the earliest, latest.
Would you have to present your analysis though in time for the packet? Yeah. Okay.
And then Roberto or Kristen, the timeline.
So I can give you the timeline. If the next regularly scheduled CLAB meeting would be January 6th. That will be a hybrid. Packet materials would be due on Monday, on or before Monday, December 23rd. You can submit them anytime prior to that date though, but that would be your cutoff date.
And besides looking at their summary, what else would happen in the January meeting? Anything?
Yeah, you would take consideration of public comments.
Okay. And then the timeline after that?
Then you decide if you want to go forward. You would start preparing, as a board, you would start preparing the IP memo that would go to City Council. And Kristen, if memory serves correct, there is no deadline for them to do it. They do it on their own time based on however much time you believe you need to prepare that IP memo. Then that goes to City Council. City Council decides whether or not they want to change the ordinance, amend it, add a new section to the ordinance, whatever it is. If that's the case, then the ordinance writing process would begin. Then it would go for first reading, second reading, a vote on it. So that's kind of big picture process.
Yeah.
And it may or may not be relevant, but will ballot question 2E have any impact on any of this? If it's approved or not approved.
What is 2E?
Oh, you want me to read it to you? So section 130 of the Boulder Home Rule Charter be amended to authorize City Council to set the terms and criteria of board and commission members and amend the language regarding removal of board and commission members as more specifically provided in Ordinance 8639. Which you know off the back of your hand, right?
I don't think so. I have not seen anything that would concern me as it would reflect the process that you are engaged in right now.
Okay, that was the answer I was looking for. Okay. I can't remember where we were. We had a motion, we had a second, we approved it.
And you had 2 volunteers.
2 volunteers.
Correct.
And so I think we're ready to move on, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Kristen, did you provide the 2 volunteers the deadline by which to provide the written materials?
Yes, so for the January 6th, 2025 CLAB quarterly meeting, packet materials are due on or before Monday, December 23rd. And I will be emailing the timeline document directly out to our volunteers, member Keegan and Foster, as well as including it in future packets with any policy suggestion form that we receive.
Heard and understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for volunteering, both of you. Appreciate it. I think we're ready to move on to agenda item 6, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Agenda item number 6, matters from the city attorney.
Oh, and I thank you, Mr. Slaw, for submitting your form.
Welcome. Thank you guys for a considerate conversation around it, and look forward to the next steps. Although it might take a while, it sounds like, for the Boulder operations to be competitive. And so thanks for taking a look. And I guess in the meantime, they'll continue to not produce pre-rolls. Hopefully everybody has that memo, since it's not explicit in the code.
Okay, thank you. Next is matters from the city attorney.
Nothing from me. Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
That's good. Matters from the regulatory licensing office.
So in your packet, you do have the link for the City of Boulder sales tax revenue report as it pertains to marijuana. You also have a list of our cannabis business licenses. You also have several pieces of correspondence, a city council retreat response letter, an email regarding natural medicine, an email from Anna Seeger, an email from a Mr. Good, and then the next I have on here is, of course, the time frame for the next quarterly meeting. As a reminder, it will be hybrid, and more information will be coming as staff can go ahead and work on that. And then if you have no questions on that, then it is future meeting agenda items, speakers, and I have a specific note here to ask for speakers and scheduling.
You're muted, Tom, but I'll go ahead and speak.
Go ahead, Brian.
I meant to connect staff with Cannabis here on campus, so I will undertake that now that we're in the academic year, and we'll try to get them scheduled for either the January or I guess the April meetings now on our quarterly. But like for one of those, we'll try to get the Cannabis to come present. And my intent would just be to hear perspectives about young people living in Boulder and their experiences with cannabis. And perhaps there could be other people. This could be like a panel style. But I will work with staff to at least get one set of speakers.
So
Great.
my question when I was muted was to ask, the in-person part of the hybrid meeting will be in the Brenton building, I'm assuming.
That is correct, I believe. Unless we have something where we believe that there would be a very large public turnout, where we might have to look at something else. But I still think that even with a larger public turnout, we could do it in the Brenton building.
And then I don't know, not asking for comment, well, except from board members, but I'm assuming if person whose last name is Goodman, if the only thing they might do is do a policy suggestion form, or I don't know if they're in attendance, but they didn't choose to comment. If they are in attendance, but I'm reading what they wrote. If they wanted to take it another step further, what would they do?
Yeah, Chair Koonsman, it's my understanding that this email is just related to the work we had done at the August meeting around the THC ban discussion. So, but I would welcome them to submit a policy suggestion form if they would like us to reconsider that.
Okay. All right. Kristen, did you finish all your matters?
Certainly. So for future meeting agenda items with speaker scheduling, I have Vice Chair Keegan with the Cannabis panel style. He'll get with staff regarding timing of that after he reaches out to them. Is there anything else?
When's the last time we had a speaker from MED?
I'd have to look back.
It's probably close to February when the new rules came out in January, because
Yeah,
they came
that's
out to
usually,
give us a presentation.
yeah. That's usually when their staff becomes available.
Since we're on a quarterly system now, I'm just wondering if we should put it back on the list for the discussion and update, which could come 2 meetings from now, which would be April.
Yeah, they were here in February. The February packet has the presentation from them, from the med. So yeah, if you wanted the med to update on the new rules, that'll probably come out at the beginning of 2025, then April would be the next meeting.
One point in time, we talked about having them come.
I'm sorry, Tom,
Say
I'm
that again?
having a hard time understanding you.
Oh, probably my AC. At one point in time, we talked about having them visit or have a discussion with us, maybe about once a year. And
It seems like April probably would be pretty good timing. It'd be then a little over a year, and to the extent that the new rules would be finalized by then. So if they wanted to provide any updates on the new rules, that'd probably be good timing.
And if there are big enough changes, you probably have a couple suggestion forms by then too.
how would people feel about having or intending to try to have a presentation once a year by somebody from the School of Public Health?
I'm sorry, by the whom?
By the School of Public Health, sorry. Did everybody else hear me? Now that my AC is shut off, you might be able to hear me better. Roberto, you reappeared.
I did just to nod my head to say that I could hear you.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's a good thing to have, especially considering we're still getting those emails from some parents of teens concerned with the health of their children, and the high potency THC, just as like a reminder to be able to discuss that with the School of Health and see their opinion on that. Maybe might be beneficial.
Thank you, John. Adam?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, as long as the folks from the School of Public Health, want to come and think that they have something new to present. Otherwise, we might just want to wait until we have something new to ask them. But in general, I thought it was very informative when we had Dr. Sammet, and certainly would support the concept. It's really just more a matter of the timing and when it's when there's something new to discuss with them. But I like the idea.
Anyone else? Okay, any other proposed? Oh, go ahead,
Mr.
Kristen.
Kunzman, if I may, so as far as to School of Public Health, you would like to get them scheduled for a quarterly meeting? Or
Well, really what I'm talking about is probably about the same time frame, or maybe the meeting after that.
so if we have Cannabis, and I'm just kind of running out just a scenario. So for Cannabis, we have either January or April, depending on their availability, according to
Right.
Vice Chair Keegan. Chair Kunzman, you want the MED for legislative update? That would occur in April. So sometimes having 2 presentations in the same meeting can be a bit overwhelming. So, and then School of Public Health. So if we do January, then we have April, and then it would be June.
Yeah, one per, or June or July.
I'm sorry, so that's April, May, June, I'm sorry, July.
Well, that's a long time off, so okay, Kate?
I was just gonna say, like, does it have to be something decided at this point? I mean, a lot can change in that amount of time. So, I mean, we have other speakers listed on this document for future meetings. If you just maybe move the School of Public Health to that bottom, that section in the middle there where it says speakers, that maybe that's an area that you can revisit. And that you can, like if there is a topic that they may have or something that to present, that at least it's there so you can revisit it, as opposed to, like, I know it's added on there already for April, but that'll obviously come off. Right.
Okay. I can take that to just a question mark if topic. And maybe we can revisit again in the at the January meeting if maybe something has come up.
Yeah. Was there anything further to be discussed about these opportunities, the public engagement opportunities related to natural medicine? Or is this for our information?
I'll let
I believe this is, sorry, I'll go ahead, Kristen.
that's okay. Kristen Shangaris put that email in, so in your packet. So I was going to let her chime into that.
Thanks, Kristen. That was just informational. I believe the only reason it was included in the packet, Kristen, is because it was emailed to all members.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
It looks like they are scheduling that work group though, so folks want to participate, probably reach out to get on the email list, because it looks like they're kind of in the process of deciding when they're gonna have the working group meet.
Okay. All right, any other suggestions for future topics or future speakers? And Kristen, was there any more that you wanted to add from the regulatory license, or any one? Let me see.
I don't have anything additional.
Okay, matters from the chair and members of the board. I mean, there's been a lot of information being going out in public, like New York Times, 2 articles. Brian?
Yeah, Tom beat me to, I have 2 matters. Yeah, so Tom already alluded to one, that there's both the New York Times article that came out yesterday or 2 days ago, I believe. And there's also a National Academies report, like updating the state of public health and cannabis, that Tom has shared as well. So I will include links to both of those for a future reading packet. And then second, I'll just, as a personal privilege, share some personal information that my wife and I welcomed our second child, a healthy baby boy, Pariah Roque Keegan, on September 24th, 2024. And so we are currently in the throes of having a 2-week-old, but otherwise everyone is healthy and happy.
Congratulations.
I move that we congratulate the Keegans on the new addition to their family.
Anyone want to second that? I don't think we need to
Oh,
vote.
I can second
Hopefully
that.
everyone wants to second
Can I
that.
second
Yeah,
that?
exactly.
The only thing I can second.
Kate's got the second on that one. And Jacques, do you vote affirmative to that?
Oh yeah, of course. Congratulations.
So it must be either really easy, or you're trying to escape by signing up for additional projects or whatever.
I've got all kinds of time at 4 a.m. these days.
Okay. Anybody else that has anything else? Go ahead, Kate.
Yeah, I have some similar news. I have some good news and unfortunate news. My wife had twins on September 3rd. And so we have a 2-month-old. So also like healthy and everybody's home and things are good, but it is busy. And so my unfortunate news is that I will be stepping away from the board, which is really unfortunate. It's been over 7 years on and off that I have been on the like an advisory panel and the CLAB. So it's been a wonderful experience. I've met a lot of great people, worked with a lot of great, not just city staff, but board members and panel members and city council members. I spent a lot of time working with the city of Boulder and less time, I think, living there than I've been working with people in there. Just really it's been a pleasure to be a part of it and to have the honor to be able to be part of these discussions and for the change that happens. So I appreciate all of you. I wish I could spend more time to do this, but it's just got to focus my energy on the family right now and yeah, focus there. So
well, before we thank you for your years of service, Jock, would you like to make a similar motion to congratulate Kate and her wife?
Yeah, I'll put in motion and congratulations, and that's awesome. Twins, double the joy. Congrats.
yeah, thank you. It's beautiful and brutal at the same
Congratulations
time.
to you and your wife and your family.
Yeah, thank you.
And we're all going to miss you. You've been a fountain of information. How are we gonna make it through a meeting without you?
I mean, you did it last time in August.
You don't know. It
Well,
could have been an S, but go ahead.
All parting the cats of all 8 of us over the last couple of years maybe prepared you best for her and your 2 new cats.
Appreciate that. It's been
Yeah,
fun.
it's truly
for sure.
bittersweet, but we sure do appreciate your insight and knowledge and just, you know, bringing yourself to the table and just everything that you've contributed.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Are we all in mission?
our house, Kate, of this board, and so it's a huge loss, but that's a great reason, and congrats. And Brian, same to you. I don't envy the lacking sleep. I remember it very well, but I know it ends, and I'm really excited for you both.
Thank you.
Well, would this be your last meeting then, Kate? Do you know, or?
It would.
Wow, okay. Well, congratulations and thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Brian. If we would have coordinated, so like we could have had some kind of like new baby party or some kind of, I don't want to steal your thunder.
No, you got
Congratulations
double the
to you and
thunder.
your
I've already
family
got
too.
one of my own, so congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Well, I think unless there's something else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn before 5 o'clock. Notice.
Brian motions to adjourn.
All right. Second on. Oh, wait. No, we need a real second.
I'll second.
We can have, honorary seconds, I guess. Kate, you want to second that?
Honorary third.
Okay, third. All right. Thanks, everyone. And thank you, city staff. We appreciate you.
Thank you, staff. Thank you,
Thanks,
public.
everybody.
Thank you, board.
Take care.
Have a good night.
Don't forget to vote.